Like, as we wait for others, do you have any just general questions?
Uh, General,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, I mean, I've got some kind of specific questions geared towards 44, but I think other coaches, if they come on, they'll probably benefit from the answer as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, feel free. Like I say, I'm going to start in a couple of minutes. So if you have specifics right now, just yeah, shoot, mate. I'll try to answer them.
No, I do want to say that I think you're doing an awesome job managing this whole program.
Ah, appreciate that. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure,
it's
sure you don't get a lot of the thank yous and the good jobs. It's usually the problems you get.
that is true. That is true. That's like I say, it's a big program. Like I said, I don't do it by myself. Like I say, we have a great grounds crew that make sure the fields and goals and lines are all good. Like I say, the referee crew, our referee directors, is great with the refs. Like I say, it's yeah, there's a lot of people that put a lot of
Sure.
work into it. So, but it's all like I say, it's all for the kids at the end of the day, and hopefully everyone has a well, most people have them, an enjoyable experience for sure.
Oh yeah.
All right, 6:30 on the dot. Let's say these sometimes we have a lot of coaches. Other times it's just a few, a handful. This has been recorded, so I'll upload this on YouTube and send kind of links out. We have links, from recordings in the past there as well. So I'll get into the 4v4. Let's say, and I'll go through kickoffs, goal kicks, corner kicks, some rules. So again, if you have any questions, feel free just kind of just interrupt me. Not a big deal, and then we'll go from there. So for the 4v4, and an easy way to maybe set the players up, depending on if you're U6, U7, it might just still look, yeah, even U8 probably, it might look like, they're just kind of one ball, everyone's just kind of running to it, and so on. If you get into U8 and there's, you're starting to kind of talk about where to stand or formations, the formation that's easiest to explain would be the 1-2-1 formation, or kind of like a diamond shape. So if you kind of put in, so we're talking about the blue team, the diamond shape, we say one defender, two midfielders, one forward. So kind of a 1-2-1. So one that kind of like stays back a little bit, protects the goal, acts as like that kind of sweeper. And then you got two, players that are wide, so kind of midfielders. One kind of stays on the right, one stays on the left when you have the ball, and then the forward player that kind of stays up high. So that's kind of the shape, if you can, depending on their age, and then who's in front of you. Now, if you have younger ones, they're gonna probably not keep shape, and they're just gonna run towards the ball, and everyone's gonna bunch together. That's what's going to happen, right? Especially the younger ones, they're still in that mindset of my ball, my ball. Hey, I want to get that ball. So, like I say, as a coach, don't get too frustrated. Maybe just say, how can we dribble into space? Right? Where can we dribble? Can we take a touch into space? How can we spread out? But I wouldn't fight that too much. But once they get to that U7 spring season or U8 season, they might have a better understanding of, hey, what position am I on? What's my role on the team now? Just a little bit better than the younger ones. So if I go through like a kickoff, and these kickoffs will be kind of similar to basically all formats, whether it's 4v4 all the way to 11v11, honestly, depending on where the opposition are standing. You only one player needs to be on the ball in a couple of these demonstrations. Let's say, depending on where the opposition is standing. So if this player is here, this player is here. Now, this player has obviously one touch because you can only touch it once, and it can go sideways, it can go back, it can go forward from the kickoff. So one of the options that I like to do with these younger ones is maybe just have this player, aim for this corner right here. Hey, can you pass the ball into this corner, depending on where the opposition players are standing? And that way, this player can maybe run onto the play. All right, so if you play that ball into the space, okay, so obviously they have to start in their own half, play it into the space, and then this player can run onto. Now, if the other team win the ball, well, at least they're winning the ball, higher up the field. All right, so you got kind of that, that position already. Okay, and obviously people can scoot up and then join in. All right, so that's kind of one option. Again, this is all based on the position of the opposition team. That's really important kind of to note. Let's say if this player is dropped in here, there's not really much space for them to play. Maybe that player's kind of facing that way, so they're like, okay, you're going to play that way. Well, so maybe you can play into that space onto the other side. All right, so depending on where they're standing. Now, if they're dropping back, if you've done that a couple of times, players should be a little bit more smart about this. So if you've done this a couple of times into that space, and this player runs on, or this player runs into that space, what you're going to find, if I was, coaching, I'd say, hey, just drop back. Okay, so those players, hey, drop back. So, that ball can't go into the spaces now. Now it's going to give you, instead of a ball into space, it's going to bring you or give you a ball into feet. Okay, so now you can maybe, we just scoot this up a little bit or scoot up there, pass the feet. Now we're dribbling towards them, right? So now we're dribbling, to the opponent's goal. So that's kind of a couple examples of kickoffs that I like to do. A couple others could just be, all right, we get two players together. One passes the other forward, and then this player dribbles. That's going to be difficult because these players are probably going to be right next to the center circle. So that's going to be, difficult to dribble past someone. If they dribble past one, that's great. If they lose the ball in the next one, again, at least that ball is higher up the field. Other options, if you don't want to go forward, sideways, you can always pass back. Right? So, keep these two wide. Maybe this player, turns around, and then you just play this ball back to the defender. So gives more time and space for this defender having the ball, because obviously the other team have to be in their own half. So by the time they get there, hopefully this player can make a choice and a decision whether to dribble or pass. Right. So now we can, pass out wide, away from your goal here, and so on. So another option is to pass the ball back to your defender. This will also depend on who is in front of you. So when I say who's in front of you, the tendencies, the standard, the qualities of your players. If you don't feel they can pass the ball back and control the ball and then pass that way, well, maybe it's, hey, we're looking to pass that ball forward. All right. Or you got some great dribblers. Maybe it's just, hey, one pass to someone and this other player, hey, dribbles forward and can, take a couple players on and get a scoring opportunity and chance. So the strategy of, what you want to do on, goal kicks, corner kicks, kickoffs, all depends on the players in front of you and the opposition players as well, right? So if it's too difficult to dribble past players, maybe passes into the space just to get that ball into those areas is probably best as well. Questions on kickoffs? Clay, do you have any questions?
That was good.
Yeah, all good. All right. So the ball has to only be touched once. It can go forward, sideways, or back. All right. So if the player double touches the ball, right? So it takes a couple touches. The referee says, "Hey, hold it there. Let's do that again. You only have one touch." The opposition players have to be in their own half and outside the center circle. You can put as many players in taking the kickoff in the center circle as you want. Right? But I like to kind of, when you have the ball, you're going to try to make the field big, right? So you make the field bigger when we attack, because you want more space when you attack and have the ball. When you don't have the ball, you want to make that field small. All right. So that's why I'm setting up like this on the kickoff. All right, goal kicks. Yeah, so I'm going to bring these players back. Kind of same sort of kind of formation, that kind of diamond shape for the blue team. So kickoffs. So the ruling for the kickoffs, so the opposition players, so the red team, they have to be behind. So if we're doing like a line, across where the edge of the center circle in the team's half that's taking the goal kick, this is where they have to actually can stand. All right, so they can't be up here defending. They must drop back. And that's kind of like a build-up line when we get into the 77 game. So as soon as there's a goal kick, opposition players. Now, a lot of younger groups, if it's easier, because sometimes it's difficult to explain the top of the center circle. A lot of the groups I know just tell them, hey, get back to the halfway line. Okay, so get back to the line because that's easier. You're kind of managing the game a little bit better and easier. But the actual rule for 4v4, that line is actually the line that starts with the center circle. All right. So that's the rule for the opposition. Now, how I like to do goal kicks for the 4v4, like I say, you got that diamond. Okay, so you got that diamond shape. I like to have a player, so the goal kick, it's got to be kind of close to the goal. I like to have one player, again, you have to have one touch, must have one touch. So I want to see a pass maybe wide, okay? A couple of things you want to do that is because, first of all, you're getting away from your goal, all right? So you're first of all getting away from goal. I see a lot of goal kicks where, okay, so we're all kind of spread out and that person's just kicking up down the center. Think about the goals are in the center of the field. So if you kick it and lose the ball, that team's in the center right now. All right. Now, by pushing someone back, right, and depending on the standard of your team, again, what the players can, execute, have a player kind of close, and now we're playing wide. Now that player, you still have a lot of time and space still because that player has to pressurize you. By the time that ball is here, that player only might be there. So that player has enough time to look up and then consider the options. Now, the options when you're here, it's just a pass or dribble, all right? It can't be a shoot because too far away, you can't score in your own half. You've got to score from, the attacking half. Now, this player has choices, either pass or dribble. So you want to kind of dribble up to start with, then maybe, we're trying to find that pass forward. Depends if they block this way, maybe play a ball there. So that's how I kind of set up for a goal kick. Again, the decision making on the ball for the player receiving the goal kick will be based off the opposition again. So if the opposition kind of starts there, and we kind of know, well, they're kind of catching on, that ball's getting played there. So maybe, okay, so as soon as that ball is played, maybe you have two players, coming to the ball and blocking it off. Well, a risky strategy could be after that ball's played, two comes here, and maybe you pass there, and then we got all this space to dribble or pass again. Maybe it's a pass onto the other side, across. Now, again, a little bit more risk involved because you're passing across the field in front of your goal, but there's so much space on that side, and you've got players running to the ball. I mean, maybe they're attracted to the ball. How can we pass onto the other side, all that space to go? All right, so if you set up like that. Now, if you keep everyone narrow and close together, you're not really given those options. That's why we say when we have the ball, hey, how can you make this field as big as possible? When you don't have the ball, hey, make it smaller. Okay, so there's a couple options on a goal kick. Now, let's say if you have a kid that, okay, we set up like this, and you're seeing that team, maybe you've done that a couple times, and they're sneaking across. So this player over here, they're kind of sneaking because they know you're going to play over there. Hey, maybe scoot that back a bit. Maybe say to this player, hey, now can you play onto the other side? Hey, let's have a little bigger kick, all right, a little bigger pass onto the other side now. So you start doing that, the opposition hopefully will start to, okay, I might need to scoot over here and be more spread out a little bit. So you probably never want to, continue the same thing over and over. I would say it's always based on, hey, the opposition. Where are the opposition standing? Hey, what do you see? So again, these are maybe coaching, coaching points to your players on the goal kick. Hey, get them set up like this, and then as soon as this player's played the ball, hey, what do you see now? Hey, do you have the space? Okay, if you have space, what can we do? Okay, I can dribble, coach. Perfect. Hey, let's dribble. Let's take the space to start with. Hey, once that player arrives, what's our options? Well, I can pass the ball. Well, hold on a minute. We don't always have to pass, especially 4v4. Can you show me a skill? Can you show me a move? Okay, yeah, I can do that. Or can you take it past that defender? Right. So now you're adding some creative incentives for that player. Hey, take him on 1v1. There's only one player. Okay. Now if you can't take this player on and gets beat, he loses the ball up. Okay, now we might have to think about passing. So, all sorts of information from the goal kick that we can incorporate there. Clay, any questions, buddy?
Nope, that was awesome. Thank you.
Awesome, great, good stuff. All right, so we got the kickoff, we got the goal kicks, corner kicks. All right, let's no, because we're on the blue team. Yeah, corner kicks, 4v4, always interesting, right? Just because what's going to happen. My advice, honestly, for corner kicks, if they can play it as quick as possible, right? So if they get that ball in the corner quickly and then pass that ball in, that would be my suggestion. Couple things that you could do. So if the red team are smart, they're basically blocking this goal right like this. Okay. Couple things, we can always have one kind of close. All right, and then you can take a short kick, and then we're kind of dribbling. Hopefully that might bring out a player, because that's what we want to entice this team to come off their line, blocking the goal. All right, so if you can play quickly, maybe it's just a short pass, and they're kind of blocking the goal. How does that entice players to come out? Maybe that ball was played out here, so now they're coming out to pressure and try to steal the ball. All right, so that's kind of one's kind of situation. If they're kind of blocking, or even if there's players here, maybe you have two here. If that happens, well, they're going to have to, maybe mark. So now you're still getting players around. You kind of can tell this player, hey, where can we move? Where's the space? Okay, well, the space is around here, and then you can maybe ask that player, hey, can you play the ball, bigger kick across the field? All right, so maybe players start close, and then hey, where's the space? Where can you move? Yeah, how can you get open? Right, so these are guided questions that you can ask your players on a corner kick. Where's the space? How can I find the ball? Where can I find the ball to feet? Where's the open space? All right, so now you tell them. Now the player on the ball say, hey, how can you find a player in space? All right, is it past the feet or is it into the space? Don't have to always play the feet. Hey, is there an open space where you can pass the ball? Yes, coach. All right, yeah, let's play it into there, so then we can maybe run onto it. Another one, if you don't want to play short, maybe they're blocking the goal, which they probably should be, right? They're trying to protect their goal there. It's just to try to find the pass. These players maybe start kind of close. You always want to have one back, a little bit, right? Because they're kind of still protecting goal. So if you pass the ball here, and this red player's dribbling up, this player's your defender, your last one, and they're kind of protecting that. So another option, maybe they stay close and then they just pull out, try to find the pass and then shoot. Another one could be, okay, if you're really brave, depending on, hey, we're 5-0 up already. Hey, how can this player get involved? Okay, now we play the ball in here. Maybe this player's here, and then we, try to get a shot off. 5-0 up or even 5-0 down, right? There's, another goal is not going to matter if this player loses the ball, right? Or they're 4v4 anyway, so score doesn't really make too much of a difference at this age. It's just trying new things and strategizing as well. So yeah, that would be kind of a couple strategies for the corner kicks. How can we play as quick as possible? Because as soon as as soon as it goes off the field, maybe these are kind of spread out a little bit. What's going to happen, which should happen if you're defensive minded, you'll drop these in. Hey, how can we protect the goal first? Protect the goal. This is a corner kick. We want to stop them scoring, so it's all good. All right. So then we have to kind of find ways, being creative to move into space. Maybe we can find a short one, and then we're dribbling. You want to entice these players out of the goal. So then there might be some openings to get a shot off, to get a dribble, to find a pass, to get and to get a goal. Yeah, depends on who's taking the kick. If you feel like, yeah, the passing is, if we're struggling on passing, so that kind of ball into the box, that 15 maybe yard, 10, 12, 15-yard pass, probably not in their locker, as we say. So maybe it is just, hey, just a short pass, and then we can maybe start to dribble. That other player can get closer to goal, and then we can get a shot, and so on. Let's see. Cool. And that's corner kicks. Couple options, defensively and offensively. Questions?
No, sir.
All right. And I'm just going to go. Can you see the website? Is it pulling up on screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Okay, cool. All right. So then, and these rules and laws of the game are on our website. You go to our homepage and click on programs, click on recreational. So then you'll scroll down. And if parents ever have information about our rec program, it is all here. Okay, so it's all here. Go to email. You know, the age groups are here. So whether I get this question a lot, right? So U4, U5, they play 3v3. What ages are there? They're right here, right? You'd be placing groups of 5 and 6 and so on. So same for 4v4. So U6, U7, U8, born in these years. So if you have any questions about anything, there's a list of parks there. If new coaches need parks, buddy forms go to me, all documents go to me. Rec at Oklahoma Celtic. Uniform information: white for home, green for away, where they purchase, cost. This is the Academy Skills Night. So we have 10 sessions. Well, I think it started last Wednesday. For our U7 to U11 rec players can join in Academy Skills. It's $40 for 10 sessions. So it'll be about $40 for about 8 sessions if anyone wants to get on there now. That's every Wednesday, 5 to 6, 6:05 to 7:05 for certain ages on fields 1, 2, and 3. Timeline throughout the season, play dates, scholarships that we offer, how to do that, and then team formation, buddy forms. So once it gets to the spring, if coaches want to keep their teams together, they'll email me their team form starting in the new year. Parents that are new can send me buddy forms, but to get onto buddy forms as well, or get onto teams as well. This is what I was meaning about the rules and laws of the game. So they're all here. Every format is right here. Mercy rule is what I kind of talked about at the coaches meeting. So teams, it's really hard to figure out the matchups. We sort of go off the matchups from previous seasons, but there's such a big turnover in recs for about 20%, even more. So a lot of players, try and max out their rosters. So I give teams players and kind of fields of rosters. So the standard of teams are always changing. So it's really hard. That's why we have the mercy rule. So if teams are down by 5, they can add one more player. Down by 8, they can add another one. Down by 10, they can add another one. We only publish scores with a 5-goal differential as well. So if you win by 5-0, if you win by 15-0, doesn't make any difference regarding the schedules and what's posted online. Okay. The reason for that is, the goal of the recreational program is for players to play soccer for many years. If they're getting crushed, if they're not really having fun and it's too much of a challenge, or even if it's too easy, they might choose other sports. So we want to try to keep those players in the game. So that's a few reasons why we do that. Because again, if you lose 15-0, it's like, is it really fun for the team winning? It's not challenging enough. They're probably bored. Team losing, it's too challenging. It's tough. They're probably quit. Right? So we kind of add that in. So the rules are there for 4v4. I've kind of gone over a couple. Fan format, and like I say, the two diamond formations there. Obviously, no goalkeeper, which I'll discuss here in a little bit. 4 8-minute quarters, no asides. There's no slide tackling in any of our rep programs. All right. So U12, well, U12 and below. Okay. So 4v4 or 3v3, 4v4, 77, 9v9 formats, no slide tackling. So trying to keep everyone safe as possible. There's no heading in any of those formats as well. Okay. Try to keep everyone safe. Game format is right there. And everyone can scroll down and look at these rulings. We've added, so this is something new that I've added because I know I have conversations about this each year. So there's no goalkeepers in 4v4. So some parents do get confused about if someone actually stands in the goal. They're like, oh, they're using a goalkeeper. I was like, no. Goalkeeper is classed as using their hands in the penalty box, which they can once you get to 77 onwards. So in the 4v4, it's important to let everyone know any player can go anywhere on the field at any time. All right. So as long as they stay on the field, they can't go in the goal itself, right? They can't go across the line because that is not part of the field. So it's off the field. So players can technically, all right, by the law of the game, can go anywhere. So if you want to keep 4 back on your goal the whole game, technically that's allowed. Now, when I say technically, is that in the spirit of the game? No, right? So those kids are just going to get shots blasted at them and so on. So it's not really fun for them. They're probably going to quit. Goal of the recreational program to keep the kids playing and be lifelong soccer folks growing up. All right. Now, what we see this a lot. So this demonstration here, this example, you have the blue team on the attack. Okay, so they're in their attacking half on the attack, and they have 3 players attacking and then leaving 1 player back in the goal. Again, technically, this is allowed, right? Because players can be anywhere on the field. However, the player in the goal, yes, they're protecting the goal, but they're not really involved in the play. Okay, so they're not going to be involved in the play, meaning they're going to be bored if the blue team are always attacking, and they're not really going to get any actions. They're not really going to improve any sort of knowledge about the game. They're going to have less touches. It's basically keeping them there as a goalkeeper, not really involved, and it's not really a fun position if we keep that. Now, I know why coaches do, because if the red team in this scenario wins the ball and they're attacking, well, they got a player on the line that they still need to score against. All right, granted. So just going to be clear on the suggestion here. So, and coaches can read through this, parents can read through this. Now, the suggested way to set teams up is, if you kind of notice, now the players come out of the goal, they're still kind of acting like a defender and a sweeper. If the red team, which I kind of gave that example in the previous, if the red team win the ball now, and maybe that player is the last defender, they're still involved in the play. So if that ball comes out close to them, they can control the ball, right? They have a choice to pass or dribble. They may be, if they're confronting a 1v1 situation, they're trying to steal the ball. And how do we tackle a player, with our feet, using our body, and so on? All right. So now they're still protecting the goal, though, because if the red team counterattack, they're still in line with protecting the goal. So that this is the suggestion, to have players, to have coaches involve the players, so everyone's involved, everyone's making choices, making decisions, are touching the ball and have repetitions of touching the ball, keeping a player back in that goal. They're not, how many times I'm going to touch the ball. All right, so it's really important, a suggestion. Now, this would be the top one. You might win the soccer game because you do that. Okay, so that is short-term thinking of having that player in the goal. And okay, yeah, we won the game because every time the red were counter-attacking, they couldn't score because that player was on the goal every time. All right. But like I just described, this is kind of a longer term thinking, not just like the result on the weekend. Okay, maybe now that defender It's getting taught by, the coaches. Hey, we're staying involved in the game. Hey, maybe we're reading the play a little bit more. We're touching the ball a little bit more as well. So this is kind of a longer term thinking of developing those players, to be, basically knowing the game, understanding of the game is more. So that's kind of longer term because again, these are really young players, and we want them to grow their knowledge and stay involved with the game. Hopefully that helps. And again, this the verbiage is kind of just an overview of what I said. And again, it's a suggestion. That's why I put I think suggestion um, on the yeah. So no goalkeeper rule / position suggestion. Right? That's what we suggest. It's not against the rules to do that. Now, coaches might get upset. I've had a lot of conversations about this. It's not against it. It's just, hey, a suggestion for coaches looking more longer term rather than, hey, we're top of our recreational league. Um, Everyone gets the same medal at the end of the day for those U7 and under. So, all right, cool. So that is the 4v4. Clayton, you're good on the 4v4.
Yeah, let me be selfish since I'm the other
Yeah,
participant here. Do you have
absolutely.
any? You started to address at the very beginning about the players in 44 want to clump up a lot. I've got 5 year olds, so they're like one ball. Is there any tips or drills that we can start doing now to start breaking that up? Kind of early as possible.
Yeah, so this is what's happening, right? So on this
Yep.
demonstration, so everyone, so those ages, yes, dribbling. All right. So when players are like that, you could start with like 1v1s. I'll do a lot of 1v1 activities where they have to maybe have two goals by the side of a field, and they're 1v1s, but that now they're changing direction. So when you have this in a game, the coaching points, because that's going to happen, right? So this is going to happen. It's just like, hey, we have a problem. What's the solution? How do we coach this during the game on the weekends? When this happens, I won't even worry about, especially you said the UU6, is that right?
Yes.
The 5-year-old. So whatever you do, they're not going to get into those positions anyway, right? So what I talked about with the diamond and stuff, that might okay, we started off like that, but then once the game's in play, everyone's running to the ball, right? Because it's that mindset of hey, that's mine at those ages. This is what's going to happen. So when it is like this, I would be more like, where can we dribble? All right, so when it's all bunched up, where like those are the questions. Where's the space? Where can we dribble? Can you now? How do you know where the space is? Okay, well, I've got to keep my head up. Right? Okay, so now you can kind of talk about the technical aspect of dribbling. Hey, I've got to keep my head up on occasions, right, to know where the space is. So if I'm bunched up like this, what we want is this player to dribble wide. Okay, we want them to dribble into the space. Okay, then technical points will be keeping your head up. All right. Then other technical points, if there's space right there, how do we dribble? Okay, so now it's how do we dribble? Now there's two things: big touch, small touch. That's what you have to tell him. Now, if we got space here, if I'm just taking small touches, it's going to take me longer to get into that space. So you might concern yourself on just concentrating on that. All right. Now, if I take a big touch, I can get to that ball quicker. Okay, great. All right. So those would be the two things that I'm concerned about with this. Okay, where's the space to start with? Because if they dribble, what's going to happen? They're going to dribble. They dribble forward. Those players are going to win the ball because everyone's, like you say, bunched together. Now I need to figure out where to dribble. I need to figure out where to dribble. And it's usually wide. How can we go around these players? Right? How can we go around? And then what type of touch do I need to make? Okay, yeah, I can make a little bigger touch. All right. And now I can get around them and so on. Now, if there's one player here, maybe this happens sometimes, right? There's one player here. When we take smaller touches, is when there's maybe just one player and there's some spaces. So I've got to take small touches to start with. Now, once that player gets closer, now I can take a bigger touch to go around. Okay, because if you're here and we take a big touch, that player's going to steal the ball. So if they're 1v1 in a good area like it is now, because that sometimes happens as well, right? There's a couple of people that's probably quicker. So now I've got to take small touches and entice this player to steal the ball. And once they get close to me, now I can make a bigger touch into the open space to run onto. So yeah, any sort of exercises with dribbling, all right? So there you can, and maybe 1v1s, or you can just start off with just any sort of dribbling game where they have to take a big touch or small touch. All right. And then that could be, that could be sharks and minnows, right? So it could be, okay, someone's trying to tag me. I've got one soccer ball. They don't have a soccer ball. For me to be quicker than them, I've got to make a bigger touch into space rather than those small touches. So yeah, U4, U5, U6, U7, loads of dribbling activities and games where you can incorporate, the decision making, big touch, small touch, and then where, okay? Is it out wide? Where's the space? Can I keep my head up? How to take a big touch? Is it using my inside foot to push that ball out? Or is it using that kind of, some toe sometimes or laces to push that ball out as well? What about your smaller touches? Okay, so if you got a player that's getting closer to you, hey, how can I make a smaller touch, to go around as well? So hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, don't be. I tell coaches all the time, don't be frustrated that they're bunching up, because that's going to happen. It's just like, hey, how can we improve? Possibly when they have the ball, where to dribble, where's the space, how to dribble, and then if you're the opposition player, how to steal the ball, right? How to tackle. Hey, how can you step to the ball? I know I kind of gave that demonstration of this player trying to steal the ball, but sometimes these players, maybe they aren't going to the ball. Maybe they're just standing there. All right. So now this player has to, dribble all the way up to him. And then once we get close, how do we get a shot? Okay. Now it's a bigger kick. Hey, how can we get that big kick away? So if you're a defending team, hey, we want to steal the ball. So you tell them, hey, step to the ball. How do we steal? How do we take that ball away from the opposition? Is it by standing still by our goal? No. Show me how to steal this ball from the team. Show me. And hopefully they kind of run towards that player. So you really have to kind of break it down using that type of language.
Great. That was helpful, Ryan. Appreciate that.
No problem. Any other questions?
No, and if that's it for 44, I'm going to go ahead and drop and do some family
absolutely.
stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's good.
Okay, Ryan. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Claire. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.
You too.
All right. So now we got 7v7. So I'm going to go out of this. Put this back here for the kickoff. Round. All right, save and exit. All right, let's go for the 7v7 game. No coaches here. It's all right. I'll talk to myself here. Okay, so 7v7. So big difference. The 7v7 to the 44. There are goalkeepers now. Goalkeepers and the build-up line. So I'm going to explain both. So goal kicks now. Another difference, actually. Another difference from the goal kicks for the 7v7 from the 4v4 is the goal kicks. They have to be stationary, and we call this a 6-yard box. So there must be stationary. So I mean the ball has to be still, and you have one touch to play the ball into play. Okay, so pass the ball into play from the goal kick. Now, if the goalkeeper saves the ball or from a goal kick, we have a build-out line. Because what's happened in the past, right, when players or teams had the kickoff or the goal kicks, can't kick it outside the box, and then these players would just steal the ball and go from there. Or they'd pass it, and they're so close to the ball, it's difficult for them to, again, pass the ball up. Right? So now we have a build-out line to give extra time and space for the team that has the goal kick, or when the goalkeeper has possession in their hands, all right, the other team have to drop back. Once the ball is played, so whether it's a goal kick, ball's in the goalkeeper's hands, once the ball is played, now the opposition player can go across the build-out line to try to steal the ball, to pressure high to steal the ball and score. All right. Another reason for the build-out line is an offside line, but we don't have offsides for 77 in our rec league, so don't worry about that rule. Okay, so that's the build-out line. Goal kicks for the build-out line. How I like to set up. We have for the green team, we have a 1-2-3-1 formation. All right, so for 77, 1-2-3-1. What that means, when I say one to start with, is the goalkeeper. So I'm referencing the goalkeeper that's in yellow right now. All right, so 1, 2. The next line is the defense. Okay, so the defenders. So I'm having 2 defenders. Okay, so I've got 1, 2. Then when we say 3, that's the midfield line. So we have an outside mid on the left, outside mid on the right, and a centre mid. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3. We also have a forward. Okay, so the fourth line is the forward. So if you ever hear I'm playing a 1-2-3-1 formation, 1 goalkeeper, 2 defenders, 3 midfielders, 1 forward. Okay, so that's how I set up for a goal kick. So my advice for anyone, trying to perform the goal kick in 77 is not having your biggest kid just kick the ball down the middle of the field. Right? That would be my, again, it's just a suggestion. My suggestion would be set up like this. Now, this defender could be wide, it could be kind of on top of the box, it could be dropped down, depending on who's in front of you. All right, so if your team is struggling even to pass the ball, this defender, might want to be kind of more central. These are a little bit closer, and these closer. Right. So to start with, how can we get that ball wide? Right. So wide away from our goal. So if you're struggling passing, technically, goals are in the center of the field. How can we pass the ball wide to start with? Now, this player has a decision. Because as soon as that ball is played, remember, this red team pressing the ball. Okay? So they're pressing the ball. This player has a decision to make. Dribble or pass. Shoot is not a player action right now just because we're so far away from the other goal. So, dribble or pass, and then when. So, if that ball's been played and this player's still there, this player needs to take the space, right? We need to dribble a little bit more. Okay, how can we take this player out of the equation? Once this player does get closer, now how can we play wide again? Right? So whether that player drops back in or is a little bit higher depends on your players. How far can this player pass the ball? Right? But now we're in a situation where we're away from the center of the field. We're trying to build up, from our goal kick out wide. We want to get them into this area from our goal kick. Right now, if you have a kid that can, pass the ball out here to start with, go for it. That's probably not likely with a lot of our teams right now. So, how can we get out wide? How can this player find the ball? Now, again, this is based off of the opposition and how they stand, right? Where they stand on the field. If you see a team playing, another 2-3-1 formation or 1-2-3-1, the other goalkeeper, no goalkeeper down there, it's okay. All right. If they're doing this, so we can't get out wide, we can't play down that side. Now, if you're brave, how can we switch the field? So maybe it does start this side. Now we see all the other team on one side. How can we switch the ball and get the ball on the other side of the space? Right? We want to make the field as when we have the ball, it's important to make the field as big as possible. Got to make the field as big as possible. So if you have the ball, make it big. Attacking, we want to make the big field big. When we don't have the ball, we want to make it tight. So having the green all kind of like bunched up in here, the likelihood of you keeping the ball in such a small space, very unlikely. Right? So we want to kind of spread the field. We got width, and we've also got depth with the forward player. So right, so now we have options. If the red team are faced like this, what can we say? Hey, how do we switch the ball? All right, how can we switch the ball onto the other side? All right, this player's coming, this player's coming over here. We have options here. People are wide open onto the other side. So the choices that you make is on the goal kick will honestly depend on, how are the red team, the opposition team, how they set up. Maybe you have two players go into the ball on that goal kick. How can you pass around them? Now, if you've got two players going to the ball, certain players are open to pass to. So that's how I'd set up for a goal kick and for your teams. Have them play short. This player, hey, we want to entice that player to come up. How do we play wide again? Have that player show for the ball. Where can we move on the field to receive the ball? All right, so that's kind of from the goal kick for 77. Build up line, goal kick, how we set up. Again, you can have three at the back, three defenders, two midfielders, one forward. There's all sorts of formations that you can put on for your team. But the general idea for the goal kick, hey, how can we play wide and it's away from our goal? Don't just have them maybe just kick the ball down the center of the field. Center of the field is probably where all the players are, right? We play down the center, high percent chance we'll lose the ball. How can we play wide, whether that's switching the ball onto the other side or connecting a pass onto the same side as where the goalkeeper has passed the ball. Now, any player can take a goal kick. Doesn't have to be the goalkeeper. So you have a goalkeeper that's not too confident passing the ball. Maybe you have the defender take it, and then this defender can dribble up and then pass out wide away from our goal. Now, once it's wide, we get into around about the middle third of the field. Hey, now we can start to connect and go from there. Okay, if they start to block off all the wide areas, might happen, might not. Maybe now we can play centrally to go up the field. So that's the goal kicks for the 77 age group. Kickoffs, very similar to the 4v4. So if you watch the 4v4, very similar. You can pass it back, sideways or front, and you play that ball, out wide through players, right? So we go forward straight away. Because again, I see a lot of goal kickoffs, they play back, right? So they play, if the ball is here, we have a midfielder. Again, the red team are in the opponent's half. I see a lot of teams. What happens? They pass the ball back. Hey, we want to try to score goals, right? So if that ball immediately goes back, it's could be difficult. But again, depending on the opposition. So, how can we play that ball forward into the spaces? Right. So do you see gaps where we can run onto? I love that. I love those kickoffs, right? Straight away. Do you have players where, okay, one touch from kickoff, now we're dribbling. Now we're dribbling after players, right? Beat the first player, beat the second player. Now, if you don't beat the third player, okay, at least the ball is in the attacking half. All right. So you got the kickoff ideas very similar to the 4v4. Can we go forward? If we can't go forward, yes, we want to play sideways. If you can't go sideways, then we go back. playing back should be the last option for any player, regardless of if it's a kickoff, regardless if it's any sort of other situation during the game. Okay, so player has the ball. How can we go forward? Whether that's a pass, dribble, or shot. Can't go forward. Yeah, okay. Can we pass, dribble, sideways? If you can't go forward or sideways with a pass or dribble, okay, now we have to go back with a pass or dribble. Okay, usually a pass sometimes. Usually a pass when we have to go backwards based on the pressure on the ball. Okay, so that's the 77 kickoffs, build out line. Again, the rules of the game are right here. So 6 outfield players, must have 1 goalkeeper. The goalkeeper must have a different color shirt. Targets will work. Normal t-shirt will work. All right. So, obviously gloves are recommended. Not a rule that they have to have gloves. Recommended for some goalkeepers. If you don't have a goalkeeper in your group, rotate. All right. So if no one wants to go and goal, some teams that happens, right? Have a rotation. Okay. So little Johnny is going to go in for the first half. Steve is going to go in the second half. Next game, okay, now we have 2 more. Right. So you kind of got that rotation. If you have one goalkeeper, like, yeah, I want to just stay in goal, perfect. I'll still convince them to maybe play some outfield as well. Right. Yeah, playing goal for the first half in every game, but I also want you to play outfield to get kind of a lot more touches with your feet, because 60-70% of goalkeeper actions, soccer actions, are to do with feet in the modern game. Okay, so we have 25-minute halves, 5-minute half time, no offside and rec. Right, so academy program, we do have offside in our academy program 77. For recreation, we do not. Okay, we start offside in the 9v9 age group when they have three referees, center referee, and then 2 assistants on the sideline that help with the offside for 9v9. Again, no slide tackling, so no slide tackling anywhere U12 and under, so 44, 77, 9v9. Build out line rule is enforced. And the recreational, it says 50% playing time. So how can we get our players at least 50%? So if they're only playing 5-10 minutes, you're probably going to get complaints from their parents, because in the rec, we want everyone to play at least 50%, regardless of the quality of the player, regardless of the performance of the player. Right, 50% at least. That's half a game. Right, that's 25 minutes. I know everyone's probably a parent here as well. I don't want to watch. I don't want any of my kids just play 5 minutes if I'm spending some time watching them play. All right, I've done that in the past. It is not fun. I want to at least see them on the field. I don't want to see other parents' kids play a sport and I'm just watching. Okay, so that's another reason we want at least 50%. At least, okay, if you can get that rotation going. I know it's not easy sometimes with subs. That substitution rotation, try to get at least 50%. Size 4 ball up until the 11v11 format. So when they're in the 9v9, it's still size 4. Once they hit U13, it's the size 5. Then we got the field length and size of goal. And you can just kind of scroll down, very similar to a lot of the formats. If you have any questions, no heading, obviously. If a player accidentally heads the ball, sometimes the referees might play on. If they deliberately play the ball, that is an indirect free kick. If they deliberately head the ball inside the penalty area, the referee, it's not a penalty, it's an indirect free kick on top of the box. All right, so on top of the box, they don't do indirect free kicks inside the box. They just put it onto the top of the box if it's a deliberate header, and so on. So corner kicks very similar to the 4v4. They can't head the ball, so you're gonna have to try to play quick. How can you play short so they can shoot the ball afterwards, or do you have someone that can drive the ball, into the box for players to attack and try to get that shot off as well. All right, so the 77 format, very similar. Oops, let's go back here. What just happened? down. All right. Okay. So save and exit. Now we've got the 9v9. 9v9. So let's just go through. I'm going to go for the laws of the game here. 9v9. So difference. 9v9 format. So now you got 8 players and a goalkeeper. So the goalkeeper, difference in goalkeeper, which I didn't mention, the 77. So goalkeeper in the 77 cannot punt the ball. So how they put the ball in play, excuse me, how they put the ball into play when they have the ball in the hand in the 77, they must roll the ball out or throw the ball out. Okay, so they cannot punt the ball. When I say punt the ball, that means ball's in their hand and they go to kick it out of their hands. Okay, so that we call that a punt. Okay, so they have to roll the ball out or throw the ball out in the 77 format. In the 77 format, goalkeepers cannot drop the ball, okay, and the ball is bouncing and then kicking the ball. Okay, so we call that a drop kick. They can't drop kick the ball either. All right, so that's another form of a punt. So it's not from their hands, but they're bouncing the ball. It's out their hands. The ball's bouncing and they kick the ball. So that's called a drop kick. So they can't do that in the 77. In the 9v9, they can now. Okay, so keepers can punt the ball. They can also drop kick the ball when they have possession of the ball in their hand. So if the opposition players shoot the ball, keeper saves it inside their penalty box, obviously. Now they can punt the ball up the field. They can drop kick the ball up the field. They can also throw the ball as well if they want to. Right? So slightly different laws of the game from the 77 to the 9v9. No headers. Okay, so if you've got a goalkeeper that can punt the ball pretty far up in the air, difficult to defend against that because there's still no headers in the U11, U12. Okay, so that's our 2013s and 2014s. All right, is that right? 2000. Yeah, 2013s and 2014 age groups. Right, so 9v9 format, cannot head the ball yet. All right, so they can start to head the ball if they stay in recreational into the Metro League, they can start to head the ball at the U13 age group. Okay, 2 5-minute halves, per 5-10 minutes halftime, depending on the referees. Offside now, difference now, offside. So offside when the ball is played, that forward player must be in line or behind the last defender. Okay, so if the forward is behind the last defender, when the ball is played, the referee or the assistant ref put their flag up, and it'll be a kick for the defending team. Okay, so offside is enforced in the 9v9, different to the 7v7. Still 50% playing time, still a size 4 ball, obviously bigger field, no build-out line now. I had a question about goal kicks. Same sort of idea for goal kicks, but now the opposition can be outside the penalty area. So if I go to this one right here, then we'll talk about, I'm just going to go through a goal kick. So any player, so the blue team are taking a goal kick, and any player can take a goal kick on your team. Now, obviously, there's no build-up line. Now you're like, okay, so where can the opposition start? Well, the opposition can start anywhere outside the penalty area. Okay, so the penalty area, the big area right here. Now this is called the 6-yard box, where the goal kick must be placed. Goalkeeper or defender or anyone on your team can take the goal kick. The opposing team can start anywhere outside the penalty area. Okay, so this area right here is the penalty area. So once the ball is played, so if this goalkeeper plays short, now we can pressure the ball. Right, so that's the difference in the rules, the laws of the game regarding the goal kicks from 77 to 9v9. Now, 9v9, So keeper can save the ball with their hands or body, feet, anywhere in this penalty box. Once they save it, now they can punt the ball. You probably want to tell your goalkeepers, hey, if they're struggling to punt, hey, can we punt wide? Right? Goal kicks. Can we play the ball wide? So they're kicking off. And then depending on who's in front of you. So when I say that, what's the attributes of your players? So who's taking the goal kick? If they're struggling to play the ball wide, again, similar to the 77, maybe play short. Okay, so maybe play short here. Now this player can play wide, right? They can play wide, so it gets the ball away from the goal that's in the center of the field. Same idea for 4v4, right? We play that ball wide away from our goal, depending. Now, if you've got a keeper that has a big kick, right? Maybe you play 3 defenders. Okay, we have some 4 players. Can you hit this player right here? If not, if they have a big kick, can we hit this player? Right. So you have different options in the 9v9 game for the goal kick, because they're getting a little bit older now. They might have a little bit more strength in their legs. So now we can think about playing longer passes. To get the goal is to score goals. We've got to get this ball in the opposition half, right? Especially at the recreational level. We want to play forward as much as we can. Okay, so how can we get that ball closer to the opposition goal? Whether it's a goal kick or whether the goalkeeper has possession of the ball in their hands. Okay, so that's kind of the ruling and some suggestions based on who's in front of you, tendencies of your players. When you have a goal kick, corner kicks similar to 77, 44 and 77. Sorry. Okay, so we have a corner kick. The red team are taking the corner. If you have a player that can drive the ball into these sorts of areas, you probably want a few players in the box. Blue team are defending, so I'm going to put maybe 2 by the posts, right? Just inside the posts. They'll be on the post. They want to be inside. Okay, so you got goalkeeper, they're inside, so they're protecting the goal a little bit. You want players goal side or ball side. But when we say goal side or ball side, that is referencing, here's your goal, here's the ball. All right. If the ball is played in right now, your players are in between the ball and your goal. All right. So we're in between the ball and the goal. So ball side or goal side. Now, not goal side is on the other side, right? So he plays the ball in here, they shoot and score. This player is on the opposite side of being ball side or goal side. So we want to get around here. So we're protecting the goal and stopping the shot or protecting the goal. Okay. So because we are goal or ball side, get yourself in between the goal and the ball, basically. Okay. So it's just kind of terminology to use. Depending on the score of the game, up to you how many players you want back. Okay. So if you're 1-0 up, 5 minutes to go, you're holding on to the league. Don't worry about counter-attacking and scoring a goal. Get everyone back. Okay. On the flip side, if you need a goal, maybe it's 1 minute to go. Hey, we didn't get a lot of players forward. Maybe it's the goalkeeper goes forward. It's 1 minute to go. We're 1-0 down. All right. Get that ball in the box. More bodies, more confusion, more chaos. Get the ball in the box. Get players in the box so they can have an opportunity to score. Okay. Now, if it's 0-0, it's like 10 minutes gone. All right, let's be sensible now. Always keep a couple back, or I say a couple back, or depending how many players the opposition leave forward. All right, so because you want a numbers up situation. So I know we got a corner kick, but we're also thinking about defending the counter-attack in transition, because once that ball is played in, so we have the ball, so we're attacking a transitional moment, which means we have the ball. We could lose the ball. So we've transitioned from having the ball, attacking, to now defending that transitional moment. So we kick the ball in and this blue player wins the ball. We transitioned from offense to defense. So when that happens, what do we look like here? All right, because if this ball is played up, we have a numbers up situation defensively, which is good. All right. So numbers up situation at the back. For example, if we leave 1v1, we play the ball in, blue team clears the ball, 1v1 situation, very dangerous. All this player has to do is beat this player 1v1, they score. All right, so this is why we say always have a numbers up situation, all right, when we're defending. That way, if one gets beat, well, we got a covering defender that can hopefully recover, delay until they get players back. Okay, so depending on teams, if they leave two, okay, obviously we have to leave a third back. So we want a numbers up situation at the back, all right? So yeah, this might look like this. You might want to, I don't know, I like to kind of start players kind of closer out. You might want one player on the goalkeeper, right? So hey, stand in front of the goalkeeper, be a nuisance, block them from coming out, punching the ball, catching the ball. So now we can play the ball, drive the ball, and then these players can maybe run into the goal, into the spaces where that ball might be, right? Don't have your player pass them on the outside. Hey, pass and drive that ball centrally. Another option, hey, what happens when, hey, maybe this player gets involved for a short pass, okay? So short pass, and maybe they dribble up. Oops, if the ball's not too small. They dribble up, maybe they can get a shot, all right? If they ask the ball and show for the ball, what does this player do? Maybe they come back in here, right? So that means now it's like, well, at least now we've got more numbers going forward. So defensively, we're talking about corner kicks. Offensively, talking about corner kicks, trying to get numbers in the box, attack the ball, right? So you want players moving, right? So don't just stand still. Maybe this player on the goalkeeper stands still and stands in front. No, we want these players running into spaces. So do we have the backside player running into space to accompany to take up the space in the back? Do we have a player running near post? All right, so we've got back post player, we've got near post player. Maybe we have a player on the outside that runs into the middle. All right, so we've got areas of the penalty area that we're going into, and we got covered basically just in case this ball goes to either one of those spaces that we can attack and then hopefully score a goal. All right, so defensively for the blue, couple people on the post, you're kind of protecting the post, and just inside you got your goalkeeper that's kind of hopefully facing the play. All right, and then these players, they're not just kind of resting, they're facing, they're active. You want markers that are goal side, ball side. All right, so this player's got goal side, right? And then maybe this player's here, okay? And then obviously you have, players, forward players that are up, because if we win the ball, we will need an outlet to counterattack. And again, based off of the scoreline, the moment in the game, are you winning? Are you losing? Do you need a goal? Is it first 5-10 minutes of the game? How do you want to set up? Right? So that'd be completely up to you. Formations to use for 9v9. I've seen a lot. So I'm just gonna go through formations and what that looks like. You could have 3 defenders, right? So you got 1 goalkeeper, 3 defenders, 4 midfielders, and 1 forward. Okay, so that's an option. You could have, if you're struggling against a team, maybe you have 4 defenders. Right? So I'd say if you're losing heavily, you want to be probably more defensive minded. If you're winning heavily, you're maybe more attacking minded, right? So how you position players, completely up to you based on maybe you might start out in one formation, but then you might change it up based on what's happened in the game. You could see maybe a 1-3-3-2, right? So we're going for 2 attackers on the field. You might just only have 2 defenders. All right, maybe they play centrally. I got really good defenders. I only play 2. All right, and it's maybe a 2-3-3 formation. So any sort of formation, completely up to the individual coach, how you want to set up. Obviously, you have, this is probably really important as well. You have offside now, depending on who's in front of you as well. So offside, all right, I can explain it. So that hopefully it makes sense. Offside. So let's have the blue team. So we're going to reference the blue team. So offside. So last defender. So we're going to mark this one as the last defender. Right here. So last defender is marked in the brackets there, the blue brackets. So the red defender is the last defender. We have a forward player here, right? So a forward player here. He's behind the last defender. When that ball is played, because he's behind the last defender, when the ball is played, that is offside. So now that player that's offside, the line's moving on the side. Now this player has a free kick. Okay, so you take the free kick where the last defender received the ball. Okay. So once more, if this player on the ball, and it might be a little closer. If this player on the ball plays the ball, okay, and this player is behind the last defender here, that is what's called offside. Now, if the player starts in line or in front of the last defender, okay, so they start like this. Now, when the ball is played, so once the ball is played, this is their starting position. So once the ball is played, this is their starting position. Now, if they move behind the defender, that's fine. That's not offside because it is when the ball is played. Okay, so if the ball is played now, as they're in line or in front, that is not offside. But they might run onto it, then it might be static, and they receive the ball, not offside, because it is once the ball is played. Right? So once the ball is played, and if our starting position is in line or in front of the defender, not behind, okay? Because if we're behind like this, because that's offside right there, okay? When the ball is played, offside. Okay? Now if we're in line, right here, because we're using that line, right? So the ball is played, we run on, we receive the ball, that's onside. You will not be called for that. All right. So that's the offside law of the game. Offside law. So the last defender. You cannot be offside from a throw-in. Okay. So if it looks like this, and we're throwing the ball in, cannot be offside. Nope. Cannot be offside. So the player throws the ball in. So he's behind the last defender here. Can't be offside. That's a rule. You also cannot be offside from a goal kick. So if you have all the players up here, might not happen, not realistic maybe at this level. From a goal kick, get these out a little bit. So the goalkeeper's got a really big kick. You see this in 9v9. Cannot be offside from a goal kick if he received the ball. Okay? Can't be offside. You cannot be offside in your own half. So say the opposition players are all pushed up. If players start when the ball is played in their own half, cannot be offside, right? From your own half. You start from your own half when the ball is played. You cannot be offside from a corner, a goal kick and a corner kick. Cannot be offside because the ball's got to be played, right? It's got to be played into the field. Can't be offside from that. So can't be offside from a throw-in, can't be offside from a goal kick, cannot be offside from a corner kick. You cannot be offside if the opposition player deliberately passes the ball to you. Okay, makes a deliberate action. Okay, you might be like, okay, why would they do that? It happens, right? So this player says, okay, I'm trying to play this player. He's in an offside position, but say I played this player here, and this defender panics and tries to play first time, and they're making a deliberate play on the ball, and it goes to this player, not offside, all right, because this defender played the ball deliberately, right? So it's really important, deliberate. Now, if this player is not looking, let's just do this. This player is not looking, and this player tries to play the ball, because if he does play the ball, it's offside anyway. If this player plays the ball and it just ricochets, right? Ricochet or hits the player has no idea, he's not making a play on the ball, but it hits him and it plays there because of deflection, that is offside, right? That is offside. So a couple of just laws of the game for the 9v9. I know a lot of my old videos goes through kickoffs, corner kicks, goal kicks, for, against. I just want to kind of maybe go through a little bit more of the laws of the game for the 9v9 this year, and upload this link into the YouTube, where we have other years' videos that any coach that if they can't get onto this tonight can go onto the other ones in previous years that talks about those other subject matters. All right, so that's the laws of the game. Yeah, I just want to reiterate, our referees really important. I know, there's some mistakes with some of the laws, especially the 9v9 format. There's no headers. We're trying to, teach these young referees all the laws. So it's kind of sometimes hard to keep up. There's no build-out line for the 9v9. Players can be by, the penalty box, no headers, trying to keep everyone as safe as possible from U12 down, no headers, no slide tackling. If a kid slide tackles, don't demonize them. Just say, hey, look, you can't do that. If the referee missed a slide tackle, maybe just come speak to him after the game. Maybe just kind of mention to us. I pass on a lot of, whether it's concerns or just advice, because we're mentoring these referees. So it's important to know if they're making mistakes, it's okay. That's going to happen. We're all going to make mistakes. Players, coaches, referees. It's not about the mistake. It's about, hey, how can we, make it better and improve, everyone's experience moving forward. So, please, email me. I'll pass it on to Victor. Victor does all the reschedules now. So, give us that. If we don't know there's a problem, we can't fix it. So, please reach out. If you have any questions throughout the season, we are here to help. Again, help coaches, parents, players have the best experience they can in our recreational program. Our recreational program is the biggest in Oklahoma. We have about 2,200 kids, a lot of teams, a lot of coaches. I really appreciate all the volunteer coaches that have no experience to, a few years coaching our rec program. I appreciate all of you guys. Let us know how we can do to help you. And that's part and parcel of our job here. My job as well. Okay. All right. That is it. I know we had one person in the 4v4 get off, so I'm speaking to myself, but appreciate you guys. Have a great night.